Welcome, everyone. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Nirvāṇa Ṣaṭkam.
Ooh, I like that. A deep dive into the Nirvāṇa Ṣaṭkam sounds very philosophical. I love it.
It's this amazing set of verses from Adi Shankaracharya.
Oh, wonderful.
It's almost like if Shankaracharya were to give a master class today, this is what it would sound like
Oh, I like that.
on the nature of self and who we are.
It is remarkable how timeless these verses are.
Right.
Because you read them.
It was like centuries ago, and it's still so relevant.
And it just feels like, wow, this is talking to me right now, you know?
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And so for anyone who maybe isn't as familiar with Adi Shankaracharya, could you give us a little background on him and his importance?
Absolutely. So Shankaracharya, often referred to as Adi Shankaracharya, lived in the 8th century, and even as a young boy, he was recognized for his exceptional intellect and deep spiritual understanding.
Yeah.
And, he traveled all across India, engaging in philosophical debates and really sort of revitalizing this school of thought known as Advaita Vedanta.
Right. And just to kind of put it simply,
Yeah.
Advaita Vedanta is saying that our individual selves, like at their core, are not really separate from the universal consciousness.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Oneness, that's the key concept, that we are all ultimately one. And the Nirvāṇa Ṣaṭkam, it's so beautiful. It guides us toward realizing this oneness using this method called Neti, which means not this. So it's a process of sort of negation, stripping away all these layers of identity that we cling to, like our body, our thoughts, our emotions, to reveal what's truly at the core.
So we let go of all the labels.
The labels,
all the limitations.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the limitations that we impose on ourselves. And it points us toward this ultimate reality, which is often symbolized by Shiva.
Okay, and Shiva, Shiva can be a complex figure in Hinduism.
He is. He's multifaceted.
So how should we understand Shiva in the context of this, of the Nirvāṇa Ṣaṭkam?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So in this particular context, Shiva represents pure consciousness.
Okay.
That ultimate state of being
Yeah.
that exists beyond all boundaries, all limitations. It's pure bliss, pure awareness. So when the verses affirm Shivoham, which means I am Shiva,
I am Shiva.
they're guiding us toward this realization that our true nature is this very same consciousness.
Oh, wow. That's pretty powerful.
It's profound.
I'm excited to jump into the verses themselves.
Absolutely.
First one starts by saying, Manabuddhi ahanka chitta ninaham.
Yes.
Which I believe translates to, I am not the mind, the intellect, the ego, or the memory. Right?
Yes.
Right from the
Yeah.
Yeah. It's challenging how we typically think about ourselves, right? We tend to be so attached to our thoughts, to our feelings.
That's who I am.
That's who we think we are.
Right.
But this verse is encouraging us to detach from this limited self-concept.
So it's saying, like, our true selves are beyond all of that.
Beyond the fleeting thoughts, the ever-changing emotions, the mental chatter and the ego's grip. It's like, step back from all of that and see what's really there.
And then the verse goes on to say, I am not the ears, the skin, the nose, or the eyes.
It's expanding, isn't it?
Right. It's like...
It's expanding the scope.
Not just the inner world, but also the senses.
Outer world.
How we perceive the world.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We're not that either.
We are not defined by our sensory perceptions.
Okay.
It's so freeing, to think about that.
And it goes even further. It says,
I am not space, not earth, not fire, water, or wind. Even the elements, the building blocks of the universe.
Right. The very fabric of reality as we perceive it.
That's not us either.
It's not our true identity.
That's a pretty big.
It's radical.
Yeah, it's a radical idea.
It's radical, but it's also very liberating,
Yeah.
Because it makes you think, okay, if I'm not all of these things, then what am I?
Right. And so the first verse ends with Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham.
Yes. Beautiful.
I am the form of consciousness and bliss. I am the eternal Shiva.
After all that negation, we finally get to the affirmation, right? It's like the answer to the riddle.
Yeah. What remains?
Exactly.
If we let go of all of that.
And it's beautiful, isn't it? That the affirmation is Chidananda Rupa, the form of consciousness and bliss. That's our true nature. That's who we truly are.
I'm very interested to see where the next verse takes us.
Oh, me too. It's a journey, isn't it?
Yes.
This exploration of the self.
But before we jump into that,
yes,
if you're enjoying this deep dive so far,
yes,
make sure to subscribe and leave a comment.
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
Exactly. What resonates with you?
Okay, let's dive into verse 2.
Let's do it. So this second verse, it kind of picks up where the first one left off. It continues this thread of negation,
Good.
But takes it even deeper. And it starts with, I am not the breath, nor the 5 elements.
So now we're moving beyond the physical body, beyond the senses.
Yeah.
Now we're even beyond the life force, like the breath itself.
Exactly. Even the very life force that animates us is not our true identity. And then it mentions the 5 elements, which, in many Eastern philosophies refer to these fundamental building blocks of the material world.
Right.
Earth, water, fire, air, and ether.
Right.
So it's really saying, even the essence of the material world, that's not you.
Wow.
It's profound.
That really makes you rethink like your place in the universe.
It does. It kind of shifts your perspective from this limited individual self to something much grander.
Yeah.
So the verse goes on to say,
I am not matter, nor the 5 sheaths of consciousness.
Yes.
Now the 5 sheaths, that sounds a little complicated.
It is. It gets into some detailed yogic philosophy about the layers of our being.
Yep.
But the key takeaway really is that even these subtle layers of our existence beyond the physical body, these are not our true self.
Okay. So even going beyond the physical,
even beyond
there's still more layers to kind of peel back.
Yeah, it's like peeling away layers of an onion.
Yeah, okay. But
to get to the core.
Okay.
And the verse then reinforces this separation from the physical. It says, nor am I the speech, the hands, or the feet.
Right.
So again, emphasizing we're not this physical body.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course it ends with that beautiful affirmation, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham.
Again.
And again.
Coming back to that.
Yeah, it's like a constant reminder amidst all of this negation.
Yeah, like grounding us.
Grounding us, exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a beautiful structure.
Yeah, and I like how it builds, each verse builds upon the previous one.
Absolutely, it's a journey.
Yeah.
A gradual unfolding of this truth.
We've gone through like a whole journey now. It's really made me think differently about things.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah. But as we wrap up, I kind of want to bring it back to our listeners.
Yeah.
Like why should they care about these ancient verses, in their lives today?
That's a great question. And I think, the Nirvāṇa Ṣaṭkam is not just some ancient philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a living teaching that offers us a path to self-realization and inner peace.
So how does it do that?
Well, it encourages us, first of all, to question these limited perceptions that we have about ourselves. All these stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of.
Right.
And it invites us to let go of the attachments, the anxieties, and connect with this boundless consciousness that resides within us all.
It's like it's giving us like tools almost to navigate life's challenges.
Absolutely.
With a little more peace and clarity.
More equanimity, more joy,
Yeah.
Imagine living with less fear, less judgment, more acceptance of ourselves and others.
Right.
That's the potential here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful vision.
It is.
And I think that's why this is so relevant. Because it speaks to something deep within us, like a longing for peace and freedom, and maybe connection
absolutely,
to something greater than ourselves.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is it reminds us that these qualities, they're not out there somewhere.
Right.
We don't have to go searching for them.
They're within.
They're within.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
Which is, we've talked about how everything we perceive as I, all of these things, our thoughts, our emotions, our bodies, it's all an illusion.
Ultimately, yeah.
So the question is, if that's all an illusion, what does it truly mean?
What does it mean?
To say Shivoham.
That's That's a profound question. It's inviting us to move beyond just the intellectual understanding.
Okay.
To really, really go deeper.
Yeah.
To embody this truth.
Yeah.
It's a question worth contemplating, worth meditating on.
Yeah.
Exploring through practices.
Yeah. It's an invitation to continue the journey.
To continue the journey, absolutely.
Yeah.
And who knows what we'll discover along the way.
That's right.
It's an adventure.
Well, thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure.
For guiding us through this deep dive into the Nirvāṇa Ṣaṭkam.
A deep dive indeed.
It's been really enlightening.
Wonderful.
And to everyone listening out there, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
On this exploration.
We appreciate your presence.
And if you're interested in learning more, dive deeper into Adi Shankaracharya and Advaita Vedanta.
There's a whole world there.
There's a lot there
to explore.
And we would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
So leave a comment below. Let us know.
What resonated
with you, what you're thinking about, anything.
Any insights, any questions.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, please. Subscribe
to our channel for more.
We'd love to have you join us.
Deep dives.
For more explorations.
And until next time. Keep seeking, keep exploring.
Keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep.